Here are the most recent deaths in the national news as reported at Legacy.com in the third week of June 2026. I'm your host, Linnea Crowther. I'm the news editor at Legacy.com, where you can read full obituaries for most of the people featured in this video and leave your own condolences on their Legacy page. Actress Daveigh Chase died June 16, 2026, of complications from meningitis at the age of 35. In 2002, she starred both as the voice of Lilo in Disney's Lilo and Stitch and as Samara, the terrifying young girl in the horror movie The Ring. Chase is also being remembered for her performances in Big Love and Donnie Darko, as well as for her voice role in the English dub of Spirited Away. Artist David Hockney died June 11, 2026, at his home in London at the age of 88. He was a prolific and renowned painter, known for memorable portraits and landscapes, and especially for his colorful images of sun-drenched swimming pools. Hockney is being remembered as one of Britain's greatest painters, who reinvented himself throughout his career as he embraced new technologies. Dancer and actress Margaret Kerry died June 11, 2026, in Wilmington, North Carolina. She died of lung cancer at the age of 97. She was the model for Tinker Bell in the 1953 Disney film Peter Pan, dancing and posing for the animators as they brought the beloved fairy to life. Kerry is being remembered for chatting and interacting with fans at many conventions and Disney events. Musician Walter Parazaider died June 17, 2026, after living with Alzheimer's disease at the age of 81. He was a founding member of the classic rock band Chicago, playing saxophone and other woodwinds in their highly recognizable brass section. Parazaider is being remembered for his solos in songs like Color My World and Just You and Me. Musician Abdullah Ibrahim died June 15, 2026, in Germany at the age of 91. Previously known as Dollar Brand, he was a South African jazz pianist, one of the country's greats who was called Our Mozart by President Nelson Mandela. Ibrahim is being remembered for compositions like Mannenberg, which became an anthem of the anti-apartheid movement. Comedian and actor Tom Dreesen died June 17, 2026, at his home in Los Angeles at the age of 86. He spent years as Frank Sinatra's opening act, and he was a regular guest of such late-night hosts as Johnny Carson and David Letterman. He is also being remembered for his groundbreaking comedy duo with Tim Reid. They were one of the first interracial comedy acts. Dreesen was a U.S. Navy veteran who served from 1956 to 1960. Daredevil athlete Andy Lewis died June 14, 2026, near Moab, Utah. He died in a base jumping accident at the age of 39. Danny Joe Craigle was also killed in the accident. Better known as Sketchy Andy, he performed amazing feats on the slackline and highline, including when he appeared in the Super Bowl 46 halftime show alongside Madonna. Lewis is also being remembered as the owner of Base Jump Moab and for setting records with his highline work. Actress Anne Schedeen died in June 2026 at the age of 77. She was best known for her performance as Kate Tanner, the mother in the 80s sitcom Elf. Schedeen is also being remembered for appearing in such TV shows as Three's Company, Cheers, Judging Amy, and many more. Hockey player Kyle Calder died June 15, 2026, after a brief illness at the age of 47. He spent 5 seasons with the Chicago Blackhawks in the early 2000s, then went on to play for the Philadelphia Flyers, Los Angeles Kings, and other NHL teams. Calder is also being remembered as a beloved youth hockey coach in recent years. Author Jane Yolen died June 11, 2026, at her home in Hatfield, Massachusetts, at the age of 87. She was the prolific author of more than 400 books, especially children's books like Owl Moon, The Emperor and the Kite, and the Commander Toad series. Yolen is also being remembered for novels, including The Devil's Arithmetic, Armageddon Summer, and the Pit Dragon Chronicles series. Actor William Smithers died May 26, 2026, at the age of 98. His death was reported this week. Best known for his role as oil baron Jeremy Wendell on Dallas, he also had a prominent recurring role on Peyton Place. Smithers is also being remembered for his performance in the original Star Trek episode Bread and Circuses. Singer Teddie Beverley died June 17, 2026, at the age of 99. She and her sisters, Joy and Babs, were the Beverley Sisters, known for their close harmonies on songs like Sisters, Greensleeves, and I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. Beverley is being remembered as the last of the beloved trio. Radio personality Eddie Andelman died June 15, 2026, at the age of 89. He co-hosted the groundbreaking radio show Sports Huddle for decades, broadcasting in Boston and syndicated to radio stations around the country. Andelman is being remembered as the godfather of sports radio for helping invent the format. Actor and comedian Ronnie Schell died June 12, 2026, at a hospital in Los Angeles. He died of natural causes at the age of 94. He co-starred in the 1960s sitcom Gomer Pyle USMC, playing Gomer's friend Duke Slater. He is also being remembered for providing voices for many movies and TV shows, including Battle of the Planets, The Cat from Outer Space, Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels, and The Smurfs. Schell was a U.S. Air Force veteran who served for 4 years. Singer, songwriter, and comedian Oliver Tree died June 14, 2026, in Rio de Janeiro. He died in a helicopter crash at the age of 32, along with 5 other passengers. He became a viral sensation with alt-pop songs like When I'm Down, Life Goes On, and Miss You. Tree is being remembered for his unique style and persona, featuring his bowl haircut, giant pants, scooter rides, and more. Journalist Gene Shalit died June 12, 2026, at the age of 100. He was the longtime movie critic for The Today Show, known for his friendly, positive reviews and for his distinctive look. Shalit is being remembered for his love of using puns in his movie reviews. On June 14, 2026, 12 people were killed in Missouri when their skydiving plane crashed. Here are the names of those who died: Dane Cordis, Sai Karthik Varmadatla, William Fisher, David Hirschberger, Dustin McKinney, Marcus Miller, Nicholas Nash, Kurt John Roy, Michael R. Shanahan, Jennifer L. Sharp, Matthew Swope, Blake Thacker. 8 people were killed on June 15, 2026, when a U.S. Air Force B-52 bomber crashed near Edwards Air Force Base in California. Their names are Major Alexander Davis, Major Robert D., Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel Estrella, Major Brad Hovey, Retired Lieutenant Colonel Miles Middleton, Christopher Richard, Jeremy Smith, Colonel Gregory Watson. In more celebrity news, we're marking landmark anniversaries for a number of beloved musicians and actors, but first, some of the most fascinating obituaries we saw this week at Legacy weren't for celebrities, but for everyday people from all different walks of life. People like this lifelong sci-fi fan from Chicago and Las Vegas, who described himself as a science nerd, and whose kids described him as their very own Jedi Knight. This beloved grandmother, whose adventurous life took her from Hungary to Los Angeles, with stops all across Europe, the Mediterranean, and beyond. And this devoted husband and father, who came to America as a young boy, grew up to be an engineer and entrepreneur, and went on to found the company behind Bugle Boy jeans. At Legacy.com, any family can publish an obituary in honor of a loved one's memory, online and in local newspapers everywhere. Just visit Legacy.com and select your local community. In addition to featuring current deaths in the news, Legacy.com also honors the lives and legacies of notable people who died in the past. Here are some of this week's anniversaries. 15 years ago this week, actor Peter Falk died at the age of 83. He was a 4-time Emmy Award winner as the star of Columbo, and his memorable movies include Murder, Inc., Pocketful of Miracles, and The Princess Bride. 25 years ago this week, actor Carroll O'Connor died at the age of 76. He rose to widespread fame playing Archie Bunker on the classic sitcom All in the Family, and he went on to star in the TV crime drama In the Heat of the Night. 25 years ago this week, musician John Lee Hooker died at the age of 83. He was a guitar great who brought an electrified sound to Delta blues, becoming one of the 20th century's most iconic bluesmen. 50 years ago this week, singer and songwriter Johnny Mercer died at the age of 66. He wrote the lyrics to beloved songs like Moon River, Days of Wine and Roses, and Autumn Leaves. Celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain was born 70 years ago this week. He died in June 2018 at the age of 61. From his best-selling book Kitchen Confidential, to culinary travel shows like Parts Unknown, to his work in kitchens across New York City, he was one of the best-loved celebrity chefs of his time. Singer, songwriter, and actor Chris Christopherson was born 90 years ago this week. He died in September 2024 at the age of 88. He wrote hits like Me and Bobby McGee and Sunday Morning Comin' Down, and he starred in such movies as A Star is Born and the Blade series. Actress Olympia Dukakis was born 95 years ago this week. She died in May 2021 at the age of 89. Her prolific career on stage and screen included an Academy Award for her performance in Moonstruck. Every week in the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose communities are mourning their loss. Here are the most recent half-staff memorial flag honors. Flags in Illinois have been lowered to honor the memory of Illinois Tollway employee Calvin Holly. Flags in Florida have been lowered as a mark of respect for the victims, their families, and the many affected by the 2016 tragedy at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. Flags in Mississippi have been lowered to honor the memory of State Representative Bo Brown. Flags in Michigan have been lowered to honor the memory of U.S. Army Corporal George F. Sepsi, who was killed in action in Papua New Guinea during World War II. His remains were recently identified and returned home for burial. Flags in Indiana have been lowered to honor the memory of Sealyville volunteer firefighter Harold Osborne, who died in the line of duty. Flags in Texas have been lowered to honor the victims of the mass shooting in Midland. Flags in Florida have been lowered to honor the memory of former U.S. Representative Bill Posey. Flags in South Carolina have been lowered to honor the memory of State Treasurer and member of the State House of Representatives Converse Alva Chellis III. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. Follow Legacy.com on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.